Hi, I wanted to talk about psychometric tools. And I say tools very liberally because I think it is a tool. It's something that enables someone to do something. So therefore, I don't like psychometric assessments, or I don't like psychometric tests, because there's no good or bad, right or wrong. It's simply a tool. And where I like to use psychometric tools is in the work I do with both self and leadership development. And I use it with a threefold model. And that model has starting point of self-awareness. And that's genuine self-awareness, being aware of oneself, what they really stand for, warts and all, and being able to have the courage to admit that. And then we look at terms of knowing one's impact on others. How does one relate to others? How do others relate back to that person? What do you look for? Very particular in a leader, where it's going to be very important. And the last one is one I always throw in there too, and that's what I call being comfortable in one's own skin. Having that unique ability to have what I perceive as genuine confidence, real confidence for people. And it's not as easy as it sounds to come by, and that only comes from having a contentment of being who you really are and working with that. So where I like to use psychometric tools within this is when I'm talking about self-awareness leading to building the confidence and the comfort in one's own skin, would be something that we call an ipsative psychometric tool. And that might be something like Myers-Briggs. And what ipsative means is that it's an either-or function. You're going to be one thing or another. Again, no right or wrong, no good or bad, but you're going to have a preference one way or another. And that helps to get you to know yourself a bit better, increase the self-awareness, hopefully with the utmost leading to confidence. On the other side, we have normative psychometric tools, something like California Personality Inventory. And with the normative, what you're doing is basing yourself against a group of a population. That could be general population, executive population, whatever it might be. And this one actually helps with knowing your impact on others, because it's a way to see how others might perceive you, how others might relate to you or behave around you, and respond in turn to your behaviors. So together in tandem, these are two powerful tools, instruments that you can use to actually increase the self-awareness, hence knowing your impact on others, how you relate with others, your teams, etc., and ultimately increasing your own self-confidence. Thank you.
Good morning, Deena. How are you today?
Good morning, Beth. I'm really well. Yourself?
I'm good, thanks. What I wanted to explore with you this morning is the impact of coaching inside of an organization. What I understand is that you've had experience as a person inside of the corporation with implementing an internal coaching program, and you've also worked with people as an external coach. To an organization. And what I wanted to ask you about today is your perspective on internal coaching and what its value is to an organization.
Oh, good question. Globally, huge value. And the reason I say huge value is because sometimes people internal to the organization already understand the culture, they understand the framework, they understand what strategies are, and they're better placed to actually stand by someone and coach them through it. I think one of the difficulties with internal coaching programs is establishing the trust in the relationship. Sometimes that's harder because you think, where can I get back? So those boundaries have to be established well on. Sometimes that's where it helps if it's cross-functional. And certainly in the group that I ran, very cross-functional. We had 20 coaches internally, and we always paired it up with different functions. So that helped to reduce some of the borders in the first place. Where it paid off is relating back to the company's interests. So we did a lot based on competency development in terms of competencies that might want to be increased. Never remedial, always for development. And we took that approach with every coaching relationship that we started. And that was the basis that we went from. But the results in terms of having, in essence, a coach stroke confidant within inside the organization were huge. And we were able to actually statistically prove that to the board as well.
That's really interesting. If I wanted to implement an internal coaching program in my organization, what would I need to do?
I would want to know more about your organization first, obviously, but in terms of a generic approach, what I would say is that you'd have to have some external help, obviously, to get the coaching up to run. However we might want to look at that, whether we go to external providers and decide who wants to come forward. One thing I learned very much is you cannot tell people they're going to be coaches. It doesn't work if you don't have the uptake. You have to solicit who wants that potential. And from that, you have to give them a little bit about what coaching is about. Share what their goal is. But there are a lot of people out there that really want to help others develop. So getting that true passion within others and building on that, giving them some type of formalized training so they feel they have a grasp with it under their skin and are happy and content with it. And the other thing that we did as leaders to make sure you can't forget about the coaches once they're trained. It's ongoing supervision, ongoing support, ongoing training and development to help them in their roles as the internal coach. Establish a program and make sure that whoever you are in charge with, whether it's external or somebody more experienced internal, that they don't forget about that as the coaching program grows internally.
So you mentioned that once you had a cadre of internal coaches, they need to be supervised?
Absolutely.
Can you tell me a bit more about that? What does it mean?
In terms of coaching supervision, it's a big umbrella word for coaching. But I think supervision is ensuring the coach is acting in their utmost capacity, whether that could be issues of confidence, whether that's their own development, whether that's in terms of specific relationships with difficult clients, however it might be. But to ensure that the coaches that are acting within the organization have somebody that they can go to share. Sometimes that might be a one-on-one, sometimes that might be group supervision where you get all the coaches together and they share experiences. Needless to say, you have to establish confidentiality borders ahead of time. That's where they can actually share and grow from those experiences.
So if I get it, what you're saying is you need to have a coach to coach the coaches.
Correct. Nicely said. Very succinct.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And if I'm thinking about making this investment in an internal coaching program in my organization, I'm interested in knowing whether there are any measures of its success.
Excellent question. And a question that's frequently asked, and any board would want to do that. You can. You can obviously adapt whatever measures. And the one that we particularly used was getting feedback, pairing it back into performance development plans, and being able to show that to the board on a numerical basis. So we had actual data in terms of saying this person went from a 4 to a 5, just arbitrarily speaking, because of the coaching and where they developed. Because you're right, you have to have something to substantiate back to the leaders, the board, whoever it might be, that it is working.
Is there actually a way to put a financial benefit?
Yes, there is. And you can put an ROI in terms of financial benefit. That maybe because of somebody's coaching experience, they sold this. Maybe because of somebody's coaching experience, they found a way that they were innovative and were able to say something in the supply chain. That is a little bit harder to do, but it's certainly not impossible. And it is, again, standing a step back and looking at the totality.
So it sounds like it could be very beneficial for the organization overall, both in terms of development and actually in terms of performance.
Hugely beneficial, and I would say particularly now more than ever in these times.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.